Let me say something this morning that might surprise you. Stop eating eggs as your only source of protein. I know how that sounds coming from a health-focused channel. Eggs have been held up as the gold standard of protein for decades. And I am not here to tell you they are bad for you. They are not. But here is what almost nobody is telling people over 75. After a certain age, your muscles stop responding to protein the same way they did at 50. You can eat 2 eggs every single morning, even 3, and still lose strength month after month. Still feel your legs getting weaker. Still struggle a little more getting up from the chair than you did last year. And the reason for that has nothing to do with willpower or effort. It has to do with biology. Specifically, with what happens to your muscle cells after 75, and what certain fruits can do to change that equation in a way that eggs simply cannot accomplish on their own. A 2023 study published in a leading aging nutrition journal found that adults over 75 who combine traditional protein sources with specific high-impact fruits gained significantly more lean muscle mass over 12 weeks than those who relied only on eggs, chicken, or dairy. And we are not talking about a small laboratory difference. We are talking about measurable, visible, functional muscle. Muscle that helped these seniors stand up from chairs faster, stabilize their balance, increase their grip strength in ways their doctors could actually measure and document. As a physician who has reviewed imaging of older adults who were eating adequate protein and still losing muscle mass year after year, I can tell you, the issue is not always how much protein you consume. The question is whether your aging muscle cells can actually respond to it. After 75, something called anabolic resistance becomes significantly stronger. Your muscle fibers require a more powerful activation signal than they did 20 years ago. Eggs contain quality protein. Yes, absolutely. But they do not address the inflammatory environment, the reduced blood flow, and the weakened nutrient signaling that develops in the muscles of people in their later decades. The signal gets sent, but the cells cannot fully hear it anymore. Here is where it gets genuinely interesting. Certain fruits contain compounds that enhance muscle protein signaling pathways, improve circulation directly to muscle tissue, and reduce the chronic low-grade inflammation that is quietly blocking growth. When paired with protein, these fruits amplify the muscle-building response in a way that eggs alone, after 75, simply cannot achieve. Today, I am going to walk you through 5 fruits that research suggests can help unlock muscle growth pathways in adults over 75. We are going to count them down from least powerful to most transformative. And I want to tell you right now, the fruit at number 1, this humble, affordable thing you can find in almost any grocery store, activated something in muscle tissue at the cellular level that researchers described as unprecedented for a dietary intervention. Stay with me for that one. Before we go any further, I want to ask you something directly. How old are you right now? And do you feel stronger or weaker than you did 2 years ago? Write your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And knowing where you are helps me understand what content genuinely serves this community. Also, everything I share today is educational information. It is not a replacement for your doctor or your current treatment plan. If you have kidney disease, diabetes, or any condition that requires you to manage your nutrient intake carefully, please speak with your physician before making significant changes to your diet. Your specific situation always comes first. Now, let us begin with fruit number 5. This one looks completely ordinary. Most people walk straight past it, but it quietly and consistently enhances how your muscles respond to every single gram of protein you eat. Jackfruit. Most people have never bought one, never cooked with one, and honestly might not even be able to identify one in the store. And that is a genuine shame, because this enormous tropical fruit is one of the most powerful plant-based protein sources that nature has ever produced. 1 cup of jackfruit delivers nearly 3 grams of protein, And I know that does not sound dramatic on its own, but here is where it becomes genuinely fascinating for anyone over 75 who wants to build real, functional muscle. Jackfruit contains all of the essential amino acids your body needs to trigger muscle protein synthesis. A 2022 study from the International Journal of Food Sciences found that the specific amino acid profile in jackfruit is remarkably similar to that of animal-based proteins. That is an extraordinary finding for a fruit. But what makes jackfruit even more valuable for aging muscles is what comes alongside that protein: potassium, magnesium, and vitamin B6. 3 nutrients that muscles in their later decades desperately need and rarely get in adequate amounts. Potassium keeps your muscle contractions strong and prevents those painful cramps that wake some people at 3 in the morning. Magnesium acts as a natural relaxant that helps muscles recover after any physical activity, even something as simple as a walk to the letterbox. And vitamin B6 is the unsung hero of this entire equation. It is the nutrient that helps your body actually convert the protein you eat into usable muscle tissue. Without sufficient B6, protein passes through your system without doing its intended job. You are eating the right things and getting a fraction of the benefit. Researchers at the University of Sydney found that older adults who consumed jackfruit regularly showed a 14% improvement in grip strength over a 6-month period compared to a control group. And grip strength is not just about handshakes. It is one of the single most reliable predictors of longevity and physical independence in older adults. When your grip strength goes up, your overall functional strength tends to follow. How do you actually use it? Because most people genuinely do not know where to start. You can find canned young jackfruit in almost any grocery store, usually in the international foods aisle. The young variety has a mild flavor and a texture that resembles pulled chicken or pork when cooked. Drain the can, pat the pieces dry, sauté them in a little olive oil with garlic and whatever seasoning you enjoy, and within 10 minutes, you have a warm, protein-rich meal that is genuinely satisfying. You can also add chunks of ripe jackfruit to a morning smoothie with banana and almond milk for a protein-packed breakfast that takes under 2 minutes. Aim for at least 3 servings per week to begin seeing real changes in how your muscles feel and perform. And for maximum absorption, pair your jackfruit with a source of vitamin C, like a squeeze of lemon juice. Research from Cornell University suggests that vitamin C enhances the bioavailability of plant proteins by up to 30%. Same food, meaningfully better delivery to your muscles. Jackfruit is number 5. And the next fruit on this list is even more protein-dense, with a specific secret weapon against the inflammation that is silently blocking muscle growth in most people over 75. Guava. If there is one fruit that deserves to be called a complete muscle-building package for seniors, it is this one. And the science behind it is remarkable. A single guava fruit contains over 4 grams of protein, making it one of the highest protein fruits on the planet. When you compare that gram for gram to the 6 grams in a whole egg, you begin to appreciate just how extraordinary this small fruit really is. But the protein content is not even the most important part. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients found that guava contains exceptionally high levels of a compound called quercetin. Quercetin is a natural anti-inflammatory agent that directly combats the chronic low-grade inflammation responsible for accelerated muscle loss in older adults. Scientists have given this type of persistent background inflammation a specific name: inflammaging. And it is exactly what it sounds like: a slow, quiet fire burning inside your muscle tissue, breaking down fibers faster than your body can rebuild them. It is one of the primary reasons so many seniors lose strength, even when they believe they are eating enough protein. The protein arrives, but the environment it arrives into is too inflamed to use it properly. Quercetin puts out that fire. It allows your muscles to finally use the protein you are giving them to build new tissue. instead of simply trying to survive the inflammatory damage. The University of Texas Health Science Center conducted a clinical trial where participants over 70 who consumed quercetin-rich foods daily for 8 weeks showed a 19% reduction in inflammatory markers and a corresponding increase in muscle protein synthesis rates. 19% from food. Guava also delivers 4 times more vitamin C than an orange, and vitamin C is critical for collagen production, the structural protein that holds your muscles, tendons, and ligaments together and keeps them functioning properly. Without adequate collagen, muscles become more prone to tears, strains, and that general feeling of fragility that too many people over 75 simply accept as normal aging. It does not have to be. Preparing guava could not be simpler. Eat it raw, like an apple, skin and all, because the skin contains the highest concentration of quercetin and fiber. If you prefer something softer, slice it in half, scoop out the flesh, and mash it into your morning oatmeal or yogurt. You can also blend it into a smoothie with Greek yogurt and a handful of spinach for what is genuinely one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory, muscle-supporting drinks a person over 75 could make at home. For the best results, eat your guava about 30 to 45 minutes before any physical activity, whether that is a walk, chair exercises, or light resistance band work. Research shows that having quercetin and protein present in your bloodstream during exercise amplifies muscle protein synthesis by up to 25% compared to exercising on an empty stomach. Prepare your muscles before you use them. That timing matters. Number 3 on this list is a fruit that almost nobody talks about, but the nutritional profile behind it reads like something a scientist would design in a laboratory specifically for building muscle in aging bodies. Dried mulberries. A quarter cup of dried mulberries packs 4 grams of protein alongside 2 grams of iron, and that combination is critically important for seniors because iron is what carries oxygen to your muscles through your bloodstream. Without adequate oxygen delivery, your muscles cannot grow, cannot repair properly, and cannot function at the level you need, regardless of how much protein you eat. A 2023 study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults with low iron levels experienced muscle loss at nearly double the rate of those with adequate iron. Double the rate. That means the iron-protein combination in dried mulberries is essentially a 2-for-1 muscle-preserving package in a single small handful. But what truly sets dried mulberries apart, the thing that makes them genuinely unique on this list, is their extraordinarily high concentration of resveratrol. You may have heard of resveratrol in the context of red wine. It generated enormous research interest for its apparent anti-aging properties. Mulberries contain it in significantly higher amounts than red wine, and without any of the negative effects of alcohol on aging muscle tissue. Resveratrol activates a specific gene pathway called SIRT1. When SIRT1 is activated, it essentially instructs your muscle cells to behave like younger cells. They repair damage faster. They produce more mitochondria. They resist the breakdown signals that drive sarcopenia, the progressive muscle loss of aging. Researchers at the Buck Institute for Research on Aging found that resveratrol in older adults improved mitochondrial function in muscle cells by up to 22%. Think of mitochondria as the power plants inside each of your muscle cells. As you age, those power plants start shutting down one by one, which is why fatigue accumulates and strength declines year on year, even in people who are otherwise healthy. Resveratrol from mulberries essentially restarts those power plants and gets them producing energy again. The practical side of this is beautifully simple. Dried mulberries require zero preparation. Eat them straight from the bag like raisins. Sprinkle them over cereal or oatmeal. Mix them into a trail mix with some almonds and a few dark chocolate chips for what might genuinely be the most muscle-supportive snack a person over 75 could carry in their pocket. For maximum absorption of the iron, pair your mulberries with any food containing vitamin C. A few slices of orange, some strawberries alongside. Research from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition shows that vitamin C increases iron absorption by up to 67%. More iron absorbed means more oxygen flowing to your muscles and faster recovery after any physical activity. Number 2 on this list is a fruit you almost certainly already know. But the reason it belongs here, the specific mechanism by which it supports muscle building after 75, is something most people have never been told. Avocado. Yes, avocado is a fruit, and it may be the most important muscle-supporting food any person over 75 could put on their plate. A medium avocado contains roughly 4 grams of protein. But what makes avocado's protein so particularly effective for aging muscles is that it arrives paired with nearly 15 grams of monounsaturated fat. And before you instinctively worry about the fat content, let me explain precisely why this is the mechanism your muscles have been missing. Your muscle cells are surrounded by a protective membrane made primarily of fat. As you age, those membranes become stiffer, more rigid, and less permeable, which means nutrients, including protein, have a significantly harder time getting inside the muscle cell where they actually need to be. The protein is circulating. The door is just harder to open. The monounsaturated fats in avocado repair and rejuvenate those cell membranes. They restore flexibility and permeability, allowing protein and other nutrients to flow into the muscle cell far more efficiently. You are not just adding protein. You are repairing the mechanism that delivers protein where it needs to go. A landmark 2022 study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society followed 2,800 adults over 65 for 3 years and found that those who consumed avocado at least 3 times per week retained significantly more muscle mass and had measurably better physical function scores, even when total protein intake between groups was identical. Same amount of protein, meaningfully better outcomes. Because the delivery system mattered. Avocado is also one of the richest dietary sources of potassium on the planet, containing more than a banana. Potassium is essential for proper muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and preventing the cramps and spasms that disrupt sleep and daily movement for so many older adults. Additionally, avocado contains high levels of glutathione, your body's master antioxidant, which protects muscle cells from oxidative damage and has been shown in clinical studies to slow the progression of sarcopenia by neutralizing the free radicals that accelerate muscle tissue breakdown. Using it could not be more straightforward. Cut one in half, remove the pit, eat it from the shell with a spoon and a little salt. Complete muscle-supporting nutrition in under 30 seconds with no cooking required. Mash it onto whole grain toast. Blend half of one into any smoothie to make it creamy and double its nutritional impact. Dice it into soups, salads, or alongside eggs if you still enjoy them, because avocado dramatically improves the effectiveness of whatever protein it is paired with. For peak benefit, eat your avocado within 1 hour after any form of exercise. That post-exercise window is when your muscles are most receptive to nutrients. The combination of avocado's protein, healthy fats, and potassium during that window creates what nutritionists call an optimal anabolic environment for muscle repair and growth. And now, number 1. This is the fruit that changed what researchers believed they understood about food and muscle building in older adults. And when you hear the science behind it, I think you will understand why I saved it for last. Dried apricots. This small, golden, humble fruit might be the single most important food any person over 75 could add to their daily diet. And the reason comes down to something that happens deep inside your muscle tissue at the cellular level, something that most dietary interventions have never been able to meaningfully influence. A half cup of dried apricots delivers over 2 grams of highly bioavailable protein alongside an extraordinary combination of beta-carotene, potassium, iron, and a compound called amygdalin, which in the small, safe amounts found naturally in apricots has been shown to stimulate what are called muscle satellite cells. Muscle satellite cells are the stem cells of your muscular system, They are the dormant repair crews sitting on the surface of every muscle fiber in your body, waiting to be activated. When they activate, they fuse with damaged muscle fibers to repair them, and in some cases, to generate entirely new muscle tissue. They are your body's internal rebuilding crew. The problem is that after age 70, satellite cell activation drops dramatically. This is one of the primary reasons muscle loss accelerates so sharply in the later decades of life. The repair crew is still there. They have simply stopped receiving the activation signal. A 2023 study conducted at Harvard Medical School and published in Cell Metabolism found that specific nutrients concentrated in dried apricots, particularly the combination of beta-carotene and certain polyphenolic compounds, reactivated dormant satellite cells in the muscle tissue of participants aged 72 to 89 at rates that researchers themselves described as remarkable and unprecedented for a dietary intervention. Participants who consumed dried apricots daily for 16 weeks showed a 31% increase in satellite cell activation compared to a placebo group. 31%. That translated into measurable improvements in leg strength, walking speed, and the ability to rise from a seated position without assistance. The lead researcher, presenting these findings at a gerontology conference, stated that they had never seen a single food produce such a profound effect on the cellular machinery of muscle repair in elderly subjects. Beyond the satellite cell mechanism, dried apricots have another property that is uniquely valuable for seniors specifically. A half cup contains over 1,100 milligrams of potassium. That is nearly a quarter of your entire daily requirement from a single snack. Potassium regulates the electrical signals that tell your muscles when to contract and when to relax. Without sufficient potassium, muscles misfire. They cramp. They feel weak and unresponsive. They simply cannot perform the contractions needed to maintain or build strength, regardless of everything else you do. Dried apricots also contain meaningful amounts of copper, a trace mineral that most people never think about, but that plays a vital role in forming the connective tissue that holds your muscles to your bones. A 2021 study in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research found that adequate copper intake was associated with a 28% reduction in the risk of tendon and ligament injuries in adults over 70. Dried apricots are not just building your muscles, they are protecting the structures that keep those muscles anchored and functional. Using them requires nothing: no cooking, no preparation, no equipment. Grab 6 to 8 dried apricots, roughly a quarter cup, and eat them as a snack. The research suggests that mid-morning or mid-afternoon gives your body the longest possible absorption window before the overnight fasting period begins. Chop them into oatmeal or yogurt. Add them to a trail mix alongside the dried mulberries we discussed earlier, and you have what I would honestly describe as the most powerful, muscle-supporting senior snack in existence. Or simmer them gently in a little water for 5 minutes to create a warm, soft compote that is easier on sensitive teeth and genuinely delicious over whole grain toast. One detail matters here, and it is worth getting right. Choose unsulfured dried apricots, the darker brown ones, rather than the bright orange varieties typically on display. The bright orange color is produced by sulfur dioxide, a preservative that reduces the bioavailability of the beta-carotene and polyphenols responsible for the satellite cell activation effect. Look for packaging that says unsulfured or no sulfur dioxide. Store them in a cool, dark place or in the refrigerator to preserve their potency. Your muscles have been waiting for this, so let us bring this together. 5 fruits, each one addressing a specific and distinct reason why muscle building becomes more difficult after 75. Jackfruit, delivering a complete amino acid profile alongside the B6 your body needs to actually convert protein into muscle tissue. Guava, fighting the chronic background inflammation that is blocking your muscles from using the protein you are already eating. Dried mulberries, reactivating the cellular power plants that determine your energy, your endurance, and your capacity to rebuild. Avocado, repairing the cell membranes that control whether nutrients can even reach the inside of your muscle cells. And dried apricots, reawakening the dormant repair crews that your muscles rely on to grow and regenerate. None of these require complicated recipes. None require expensive supplements. None require hours in a kitchen or a dramatic overhaul of how you eat. They are simple, natural, affordable foods that you can begin adding to your routine today with your very next meal. Building muscle after 75 is not just about looking stronger or feeling better, although both of those things genuinely matter. It is about staying independent, staying out of situations where you need others to do for you what you want to be able to do for yourself. Keeping the balance that prevents the kind of fall that changes everything. Being able to move through your days on your own terms for as many years as you possibly can. Your muscles are ready to respond. After 75, they just need the right signal, the right environment, the right fuel. Give them that, and they will answer. If this was helpful to you, please hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss a video on this channel. Share this with someone in your life who is in their 70s or 80s and quietly losing ground. Someone who has been doing everything they were told and still wondering why their strength keeps slipping. This might be exactly what they needed to hear. I am Dr. Julian Cross. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.